gosh. I'm just trying to get you in the harness. What the H? Alright. So, I'm live now. Just gonna test and see if this is working. Oh my gosh. Perfect. Alright, so I know that this is around the spot that I need to stick to, maybe. Alright. Hopefully that's normal. Oh sweet, looks like it's recording okay. Wonderful. Perfect. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Let's see. Perfect. So anyway, I'm gonna quickly tell a couple people on Tumblr that I'm doing this, because I think a couple of them were interested in what I was talking about tonight. So bear with me as I get started. And also wondering, like, how I'm supposed to share that link. How's everyone's week going? It was certainly a Wednesday today. There we go. See if we can get the link copied. So what I thought we could do today, while I'm waiting for that to load, is I thought it would be interesting if we talked a little bit about how I plot things. There we go. And just gonna share this real quick on my main page. Because it's more fun when people actually tune in. You may hear some fun noises in the background. We're doing laundry again today, because I haven't figured out how to, like, you know, be an only child yet. My brother needed to do his laundry, so I am all yours, but you're gonna hear the dryer running. So I'm just gonna keep that there. Hopefully that's out of your view. All right, welcome back to my nightmare. I just had a really fun time doing this last week, and I just thought it would be fun to do another one, but we already plotted my wardrobe for the summer, so I thought, okay, let me show you a little bit about how I write. I talk a lot about how I like to write creatively, and I will say that it's something I get questioned on a lot, and I just thought it would be interesting to kind of go over how I like to do things. I'm always kind of doing things like, my hobbies are almost like a business. I work very hard on my hobbies, and it just, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, the way that my brain works, I almost think that I just like plotting things better than actually doing them, because I can come up with lists upon lists upon lists on how I want to do something and then just never actually do it. So I do have this journal here. Let's see. This journal here was given to me by a friend, and just, you know, while we're waiting for anybody that might want to step in a little late, I will say, just, this will be up on my YouTube later. I will post this to my channel. It'll probably still be in the wrong format, because honestly, last time it posted weird. So but I will post it because it's good information, probably, maybe, I don't know. But the story behind my journal is that I really would love to be a writer, but I don't really have very many ideas for, like, I don't have a lot of ideas for original stories. I do, however, write a lot of fan fiction. It's just a really nice hobby, but I like to know stats, and I like to plan and treat my hobbies as though almost like it's a job, because in my opinion, the more serious way that I treat my hobbies, the harder I'm working at it, the more I will personally learn and grow from it. So I do have a lot of things. I have a lot of accoutrements that I'm about to, like, unearth, because when I do these journals, I really just like to have, it's actually one of the reasons I like shop at the Dollar Tree so much, is I just have a lot of random stuff that is for writing. Last year in the pandemic, even though they were fan fiction, I did write over 200,000 words. That's almost a full novel by itself, or it is a full novel. I can't remember, but you know, it's it's just, I thought it would be interesting to share with you how I like to plot things. So this is my old writing journal. This is from last year. My friend Carla gifted it to me because she knows that I like to have things that have the grids. This was actually really wonderful paper, and I'm sorry that it's almost out because I would really very much like to keep it, but I've almost filled it is what I've done. And so I would really like to keep it. It also got a little bit it got a little sketchy towards the end where I was like sketching like craft projects, wardrobe planning. So it became a little bit more than a story journal, but it started out just a story journal. And I don't know, I just really liked it. I like my sticker. I got that from one of my doctors that I worked for at Christmas. It's called a trash can, not a trash can. I thought it was funny. So let's see. I don't know what to start, like how to tell you. Okay, so we're going to start with this. I do like to make an index. So, for instance, if you look in here, I have a couple of pages where I've set aside for writing tips. I like to number all of my pages. So this is going to be the new book here. This she got on Amazon, and I really just need her to buy me like 12 more because I loved it. This was like the best journal I've had in a long time. This is just a little Moleskine. I do like the knockoffs. The, oh gosh, what are they called? They're like, it starts with an F. They're graphic ones. But I bought Moleskines for this because I thought, you know, treat yourself. I like that Moleskines always have a little, it might be a Moleskine. I literally don't know how to say that word. So I'm just going to say Moleskine because I've never said it Moleskine. I like that it has the folder back here. And it's got grid paper, and I just think it's going to be a decent little journal for what I'm doing. So the first thing that I want to do whenever I get a new journal is I do start numbering. Let me just make sure. Did I number one page with the index? Yes. Okay, so I start with the index, and I just go through and I number the pages. And actually, well, I'll do it in pencil, and I'll come back later and fill that in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be the most boring part, to sit here and watch me do this. I've always wanted to do an actual video on my bullet journaling and how I like the process that I use for that, but I'm going to be hideous at editing that. I know that I'm just going to be really bad at editing. The sad part about working in an office is I can't even like complain about my day or tell you anything that's happened to me while I'm doing this because it's all confidential and it's like HIPAA compliant. So it's not like I can really like talk like about anything. It was a long day. I think we're all getting frustrated. We all need vacations, and that's all I've got is that I could use, even a long weekend would be like so helpful. Like if I just could get away somewhere. Did I do that right? 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Okay, so 42. It was such a bad day. Let me tell you, it was such a bad day. I am super broke, right? Super broke. And it was such a bad day that I bought a fancy new blanket from Target because I just wanted a comfort object. I was like, I need a new quilt. I did not, in fact, need a new quilt, but I got a new quilt because it was just a day. So I'm just going through, if anyone's just tuning in, and I'm putting the numbers on the pages, because what we're going to do is we're going to create an index, and I like the index to have like corresponding pages. You can always come through afterwards and like mark this down in pen, which is what I usually do. You can actually see on this one, like I went through and I did pen afterwards, and really gonna need to ask Carla where she got that one from, because that's the best journal. Like, I love that journal. So yeah, just going through. I made a joke last week where I was like, it's probably my mom watching, and they were like, it's not your mom, and I'm like, hi mom. So if you're watching this, hi mom. But yeah, so I'm just going through and I'm just labeling. I had meant to do this prior to actually starting the Facebook Live, but then I was like, you know, why not just do it, get it over with on camera. So I'm at page 60. And it also gives you a really good idea of when you're going to run out of paper. So writing during the pandemic was one of the few things that kind of kept me hanging in there. You know, I work in a medical setting. I don't work in the same office that I worked at last year. But you know, it was very strange to be amidst all of the things that were happening. And that was 69, right? Yeah, 70. And so, you know, one of the things that I did is I was like, I don't have any money to give to charity. I don't have any way of cheering anyone up. Let me just try to write these stories for free so that people could be entertained. And I really got a lot out of it. I was surprised at how much I also got out of it. I mean, I shouldn't have been. I love to write. It's literally, my grandmother's still mad at me for not pursuing a degree in English because she always is like, Megan, that's all you like to do is sit there and make up stories. And I'm like, I know. I'm just bad at follow through is most of the problem. So, okay. So we've got our nice pages all labeled. And so there's 80 in this book. This book had a lot. What did this book have? This book had more than 100. I'm up to like 106. All right. So the other thing that I like to do is I do like to have a cover sheet. So I like to have a cover sheet, but then I also like to start the index like right inside. So I like to have this page blank, and then I like to go here. But oh my gosh, you're gonna think I'm such a weirdo. You're gonna think I'm so much more of a neat freak than I am. So this is the page 3 and 4, right? Did I do it on both sides, that one? No, I only did it on one side, that one. We're gonna do page 3 and 4 are gonna be for our index. And then we're going to skip all the way to about page 6, 7. So these ones here, page 6 and 7. This is how I like to do this, and I'm just so sorry. But I saw one of those YouTuber bullet journal people do this, and I've done it this way ever since. So what I'm going to do is right with every dot, I'm going to label the dot. So I need to put the page number for page 7 kind of up here so it's out of the way. So I'm going to draw a little square. And then I'm going to put page 7 so I know where it is. And I'm just going to start next to the first dot. And I'm just going to label the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. I have proof that my mom is not the one watching this right now because she came down to get my brother's laundry. So she's in the basement with me. So I take back that hi, Mom. Whoever you are, thank you for watching. I am the funniest of her children. I'm just going to say, like, And I'll probably go back and do these again in pen, like after, after I've done this, this video. I'm going to come back and like, I like to trace over everything in pen to like make sure it looks exactly the way that I want it to, because I am that level of dedicated. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. And I do this literally in all of my bullet journals, which is hard because it takes forever. But I have these little pack of cashier bullet journals. I use them for calendars. So I literally sit here and draft my own calendar because that is the amount of time that I have on my hands daily. So now we've got this little corner right here. And this is what? Oh, cute. Hi, Laura, if you're watching. Hello. So now I'm down at this corner. It's 41. So we are going to start with 1. We're essentially making a graph. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just label these dots. And now you'll know why I had to put the page number at the top, because I needed to know. So 25 dots across, and you have 41 dots down. Gosh, I've had a long day. I have no idea at all what that is. So 40, we're just going to call the mid spot 20. 20 is going to be the midpoint here. I'm even using a fancy see-through ruler that I got at Five Below for you, because I was like, yeah. So I'm going to draw a line at the midpoint. I'm going to ignore that it goes to 41 and just go from 20. And then, oh my gosh. So like, I'm going to do like 13, 12. I'm going to do 12. Since it's 12 and a half when you do 25 across, I'm going to do 12 because I'm not going to count that little dot on the end. So, and this is just to give you like, it's just good to have a graph in your bullet journal where you can easily reference where the page splits are, especially if you're doing something like, if you look in my original one, and we are going to go through and probably put this back. If you look at the original one, it's got the hook, the plot point, like this little graph here is like how I like to personally plot my stories. So this is kind of how I do that. And so I like to have, if I'm going to do graphs like this, I like just to know and get a basis of an idea of where I'm going to put things. So that's why. So now we know this is going to be my index. I'll come back and do something cute on that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, my brain. This is going to be my cover page. This is going to be my index. So I know that we're not going to count that little last one here, right? We decided. But I do need enough of a lip to write. This is where I just start eyeballing stuff, y'all. I'm not even going to lie about it. So let's see. If we come, it's 41 down and it's 25 across. So how much of a title do I need? I think I'm going to come down 4. So we're going to come down 4, right? Because I'm making the index. I feel a little bit like Sherlock. I'm like, no one cares about your index. I'm just going to draw a light line across. And I'm going to like write something cute like index at the top, because that's the kind of person that I am. A not normal one. And then I know that I want to come in and I want to do a gap between... I'm going to go between 11 and 13 so I have that middle column. Should I? Yeah. All right. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. We're going to do from here to here. See, once you have all of that labeled out, it makes things a whole lot easier, doesn't it? Oh, there we go. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to kind of make it cute. So I want to make sure I have at least, I'm going to ignore this tight margin here, and I'm just going to go to line number 2. And we're going to go from line number 2 down. This is our first column. You can make these as wide or as small as you like, depending on like what your personal preferences are. This is just how I do it. Literally should have no bearing on how you do stuff. Just because I am a weirdo. Let's do it like this. Here we go. Okay. So we've got these columns, right? And I'm actually going to come through, and I think I'm going to give this one just a little bit more. I'm going to erase. That's why I pulled the eraser out, is I knew I was going to be erasing a lot of stuff. I have a friend, his name is Dave, and he wants to get back into writing because he was doing it for a while, and he just kind of got out of it because, you know, life gets in your way. It gets hard to like sit down and plot whole novels, unless you have no children, no pets, and no social life like me, and no spouse. So writing is my spouse. It's sad. So anyway, yes. So this, okay. So now we've got this grid situation going. And I'm going to go 2 by 2, and I'm just going to make lines. So this can be a really kind of soothing activity to do, especially, for instance, if you've had a bad day. It can just be something that is really super soothing, you know, because it's a repetitive activity. And I think that one of the things my therapist and I are exploring is that I might have some neurodivergence in my brain. And I like things to be in lines. I like putting things in boxes. I don't like routines being upset. And I have yet to find a good writing routine lately, but I'm working on it. One of my friends asked me yesterday what I was writing, and I was just like, ah. The problem is we've just been severely short-staffed at work. So, we're working on that. It's getting better. I never know how much is too much to like. The problem is I'm not very interesting, so I don't really have a lot to talk about when I do these, you know, like in my other videos I can just cut it shorter and make myself look funnier than I am, but in truth I am not that funny. And so yeah, I'm just going through and kind of essentially making my own notebook paper. Now, if you prefer notebook paper, if you don't mind lines that someone else put on for you, then go for it. Go for it. But this is just, for me, a little bit of a control situation. Like I'm having control over where I'm putting the lines. Okay, you're cut off from using the actual eraser. I like extending the life of my pencils, so I try to use disposable erasers as often as I can because I erase a lot of things a lot of the time. And any of this is really only good if you're like a writer, and none of my writer friends are on my actual Facebook friend list. So I don't know that this is actually going to have an audience today. But some of you watched that one I did last week where I planned my wardrobe, so good on you if you did. little bit less of a disaster so far, don't you think? I think so. You can't talk back to me. I disabled chats. My friend, so I have a friend, my friend Echo, she also writes fan fiction. And she was complaining earlier today. She's gonna kill me if she ever watches this. She was complaining earlier today about like people not leaving comments. And I was like, I make it harder for people to leave comments. I want the comments. I just also want you to work for it. Okay, so we've got, this is what our index is going to look like. This is how it's set up. I am going to go through and I'm going to do pen over it. So, I like to use the Sharpie pens because I feel like they don't bleed as much, but I could also be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. I don't know. Because, like, here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. So, here's how it's going to look, right? And I'm going to put another index probably on this side as well. So that's why I want to go through it and do it again in pen. But this is how it used to look. So you can kind of see what I'm going for. And so what I've done is like, I'll put, 7 plot point page I put on on page 4. And then I can just flip to page 4 anytime I need to reference how I like the plot points to be. And I do actually want to put that back too while I'm thinking about it. So I'll go over this in pen later. Like I'm just going to let you know that this is my index here. And then I'm going to do another index here just so that I have a backup index. So as we're facing the grid page, this is my grid page. I would kill for a drink right now. Like, not an alcoholic drink, just like some water. I should have probably got water before I sat down. So the 7 plot point thing. Like I said, last summer, I was writing a lot. I wanted to improve my writing. It was still a dream of mine to one day have, like, a novel that I've published. And so, like, it's really a dream of mine to write a novel. But I didn't really know how to do the middle parts. The middle parts are the hardest part for me. Like, I can write the beginning and I can write the end. I have no idea what happens in the middle. So I looked up the 7 plot point thing. And so what it does is it just kind of helps push you along a little bit. There's several different writing type, like, points that I have for you for tonight. So just take a random, you're just going to draw a random, like, squiggle shape, right? And it's just to give you an idea of, like, what's going to happen, right? So here at the end, this is my resolution, right? And then we get here, and this at the beginning is my hook. This is what's going to capture your readers, right? So then you have plot point 1. Down here, you have a pinch point 1. Up here is your midpoint. And then you've got a pinch down here. I don't know where I found this graphic. I found it on Pinterest. And then right in here, you have plot point 2. I like to write all these out because I do sometimes reference this information. if I get stuck, not always, sometimes a story will just kick itself off, right? Sometimes a story will basically write itself, and all you have to do is just blit onto the paper. But sometimes, you know, with longer stories or with more complex stories, it's just nice to have a guide. Even if you don't, it's like, okay, look at me. It's like when I sew. Sometimes it's good to have the pattern, even if you don't use it, because you can see how the things fit together, even if you absolutely ignore every possible way that that's gonna work. Like, sometimes I have patterns and I just, like, I'm looking at you, but you can't see me. Sometimes I have patterns that I don't even use them, but I have the instructions just in case, you know, like, so this is my backup. If I don't know what to do, this is where I start, you know? So, the hook, for instance, and I do like to write them out. Please don't make fun of me. I'm gonna give them like, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. This is fine. This isn't a dumpster fire. This is fine. So the hook, I like to draw a little arrow because I'm weird. It pushes the novel into motion and sets a stage for the catalyst. Okay? And again, I will go back and write this again in ink later. And I should have done this before I even started this live, but oh well. And then, so I write down first plot point. Now, you might have more than one plot point. Like, your first plot point might just be like, it might be surrounded by tinier plot points. I mean, I do that a lot too. So first plot point, it's an inciting incident. It's about a quarter or a third of the way into the story, according to this guide I found on Pinterest. And it forces the protagonist into the conflict. Okay, so then you have, to counter the first plot, you also have a first pinch point. So first pinch point comes towards the middle of the story, and it just showing your protagonist is under pressure and is forced to make a hard choice or a choice. So that's what we're writing here. We're just writing middle of the story. Protagonist is under pressure. Every time I hear the words under pressure, I hear the song. Like, I just hear them start to sing. So anyway, and is forced to make a choice. Okay, so then we get to the midpoint of the story. And hopefully I don't run out of lines, because my other journal was bigger than this one. So this is a crucial turning point that forces your protagonist to stop reacting and start acting. Why do I feel like I'm in an acting class when I say that? Because that's one of the things they teach you. You have to react to the things that other people are acting out. So a crucial turning point is the midpoint. So crucial turning point. that forces your protagonist to stop reacting and start acting. Okay. Thank God I only have 3 left because I'm running out of space. So the next point is the second pinch point. Now the second pinch point comes before the second plot point, and I mess this up every single time I'm plotting something. Every time. So, second pinch point. I think I went too far down. Hold on. The sad thing is, though, is like I don't feel like I can really explain it in examples because I haven't like plotted anything that isn't fan fiction. So I don't feel comfortable like mentioning that on YouTube, you know? But your second pinch point, the protagonist reacts to or acts on pressure and conflict with little to no success. So the second pinch point has to be your protagonist trying to solve the issue and failing. So okay. The final plot point, or as I wrote, plot point 2, because I can't keep anything straight to save my life, is where the protagonist is at their lowest. So you've hit the part of the story where you're at your lowest turn, your final, like before your final battle, you know. So that's the final plot point, is the low point of the story. And then the resolution, the climax, realization is bringing the character arc for full circle and finishing out that story or that particular chapter. Because honestly, you can use this to plot chapters as well as whole stories, you know, like, because there's got to be a kind of a beginning, middle, and end to everything. So resolution. The climax, realization, resolution. Bring character arc full circle. I like to have these tips with me because, you know, sometimes I don't have my phone charged, or sometimes I'm in a place where I can't have my phone out, or sometimes I'm in a place where I just want to be present in the moment that I'm in and not worry about who's texting or what notifications. So instead of keeping this on Pinterest, now I do have a secret storyboard that I do have a lot of writing tips on Pinterest. But instead of having my phone open and just staring at it, I now have this in my mind. We've gone over it. and I know where it is so that I can access it easily in the future. And it's on page 6. So if I just go back here, I'm going to put index is page 7, or the grid is page 7, and the plot points are page 6. What did I call them? So page 3, we're going to do page 3. We're having our index. Even though it's on the index, I wanted to know where it was. So page 3, index, right? And then we also know we're doing another index on page 4. So page 4 is also the index. So page 4, index. Now, if I had been smart, I would have left myself room to write 3 to 4. Actually, I probably will. Hold on. Let's fix it. We'll fix it real quick. It'll be fine. So, taking that out. And yeah, the numbers are not always going to be in order. That's going to drive me freaking crazy later. But, so we're going to do... There we go. We're going to do page 3 to 4 is our index. And then we've got 6 is the 7 plot points. So 6 is going to be the 7 plot points. Page 7 is our grid breakdown. And what did I do? That was just random writing tips on that page. So another thing I like to do is I do like to kind of dedicate the pages after that to like almost like a baby name list. So like when I find names that I enjoy, I just write them in there. Because I just like naming my characters based on my mood. Like, I don't do that thing where it's like, she was the one chosen one and her name was True. Like, you know, like, I try to make them just normal names. They're not always. My character names can be pretty freaking ridiculous sometimes. But we know that that's going to be on page 8 and 9. So we're going to do 8 is first names. And 9 is last names. Last names, usually I keep the most. Like, if I hear an interesting last name, I keep it. Because it's really hard sometimes to find appropriate last names. So, first name, last name. And then we get into actually... Oh my gosh, we get into actually doing the thing. Hold on, let's do this. This is going to be great. What was page 90? Why did I have that marked? All right, well, I don't know what was on page 90 because I ripped it out. So, that's fun. Oh, okay, I didn't do this either. So, I have not updated this in quite some time. I like to keep a running list in my journal. So, we're going to do this on 10 and 11. So I'm going to go to page 8 and page 9, and I'm just going to give myself a little bit of a lip here because I want to do something decorative later. So that I know I went 3 notches down, and I'm just going to do first name, last name, and then I'm definitely updating. I'm going to keep the same list probably, just because it's, you know, interesting to me. We're going to go three notches down again, and we're going to do a line. So this is going to be a list of random stuff I did not plot, but I wrote, because I like to keep track of like what I've done this year, that kind of thing. So we're going to do Drabbles, which is an unplotted short in my opinion. I know I'm wrong. I know fandom has a word limit that they like for ficlet, drabble. You know, to me, they're all Drabbles, so suck it. Unplotted shorts. So for instance, a lot of the things I wrote last year came up on here. Like there was one called External Planetary Syndrome, Whims of a Charmed Quark, The Quick and Dirty, I did not actually finish Magpies. So I had a bunch of different ones that's what I was doing. So I'm going to, after I'm finished with you guys, going to go through and I'm going to put all of those back. And oh my gosh, I have to, okay, fine. We're just going to talk about fandom. That's just going to be what it is. So I like to write the name of the short story that I did not plot and how, if it's completed, like if I posted it to a website. So like I know on 7/18/20, I completed one called London Falling. I don't mind telling you that because there's tons of people that have used that title in lots of different fandoms. So good luck finding it. And then, so I do have a specific series that was supposed to have 24 of its own stories, and I only have 3 up right now. So I might do, I'm going to put like I might do actually, let's find the midpoint again. So let's go to 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So here's 12. I'm going to split this up into 2 columns here. Actually, let's do 13 because we do have that extra part, that extra dot that we were not using. So I'm going to go to and that's why it's good to know how many grids you have. Then you can always split your grid however you want it. So we're going to do Slice of Love on this side. And then we'll do, there's a series I started calling it Wicked Cuts. And we're going to do Wicked Cuts on that side. So now I know which ones I've posted for them because they're series, they're ongoing. Now I know. So then we're going to go back. So on 10 and 11 in our index, we're going to put page 10 is Drabbles. Page 11, we have Wicked Cuts. And 11, we also have Slice of Love. You do not have to be in that particular fandom, I'm told, to enjoy that. My friend Carla actually reads that series as I post it, having known nothing about the fandom that it's a part of. So I've been told it's just a really good story. Of course, she's my friend. I think I have to disown her if she doesn't say nice things about me. Okay, perfect. So let's see. I like to leave a couple of blank pages. So I'm going to pop all the way over to page 17 to start this process. This is the part, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a fic that I posted because it's the only thing I have to reference for you. This is the spreadsheet that I like to use. So I like to open to a blank paper. I will make several of these. And this is how I like to do my calendars too. I'll make like a whole bunch of those. Maybe I'll whip one out and show you because I just started a new one. All right. So we're going to come down 3, right? So that we have a nice, good title page sort of right here. So I'm going to come across on my 3. I just have this ruler from Five Below. I'm telling you, it was literally like one of the worst rulers I've ever had, right? Okay. So I'm at 3. I have a nice little thing, a little lip, if you will. And then I'm going to come down 2 because I think that gives me a really nice, good, gives me a nice, good amount to write. This is it. This is how I plot almost all of my longer fics. Several of my shorter fics actually as well. If you have not read a story that I wrote called The Aquatic Equation, you might not want to look at and you have an intention to, you might not want to look at the screen because there's going to be probably spoilers as I explain this. But I'm going to come into, let's see, we decided 13, right? We're going to come to 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is right here. And that is where we're going to make our column. If I seem manic, just ignore me because it was a rough day at work. And then, so the crease is going to make its own column, right? So this is the second part of the research that I did last year. Last year I found the 7-step hook thing that I already just showed you. The second part is how I lay this out. I cannot remember where I learned it. Part of it I made up because I saw a picture, but then it wanted you to buy a class, and I just went, I'm gonna make up my own because I don't have money. So then we're gonna come in here. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, what I struggled with typically with creative writing, like when I was in school, for instance, is they always wanted to do the 3 acts. You would think I would understand the 3 acts as I am an actor, but unfortunately I did not understand how you were supposed to have a 3-act story. But this other thing, which was awesome, is that I found this like 4-act method of setting up stories. Hold on, I need some more water. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're supposed to drink water that's been sitting out in your room for more than 24 hours, but I am very thirsty, so I'm drinking the gross water in my room. Don't judge me. You've done it. So anyway, what's gonna go here, and since the aquatic equation's on my mind, I'm gonna look towards the I'll just do, so what I would do, for instance, when I'm looking at the aquatic equation, I'm looking at this like setup. So I'm going to go Act 1, Act 2A, Act 2B, and Act 3. It splits the second part, the middle part of the story, the part I have the worst trouble with. It splits it into 2 pieces. So that's what that does. And it's nice because, what you'll do is you'll put like your title. So I'm going to do this one for the pelagic solution. Which is another story I'm going to work on soon. I promised people I was posting it in the fall and then never did. So, so pelagic solution, I want Act 1. We want Act 2A. Act 2B. And Act 3. Now, typically, for instance, this was a Sherlock-inspired story, a Sherlock Holmes-inspired story. At this point, it's so far from canon, it probably doesn't resemble literally anything about canon, but I knew I wanted to end with something that resembled the Reichenbach Falls. So I do like to sometimes have in these stories, I like to have the little notes. I'm trying to find another one. I have another one. Okay, so I have I just like to have the goal kind of listed out, because usually Act 3 is awful short. Like Act 3 is usually fairly short, because it just is. It's how it is. So I like to kind of separate off just a random little square for where I want my overall goal for the end of the story to be. And that way I know that I'm going to put the goal in here. Just as a quick reminder for myself. So while I'm writing, I can reference these things, and if I get lost, which is usually the case, then I can just go, oh, that's where I want to be, So and then it's kind of interesting too, because for instance, as I said, I treat my hobbies a lot like a job. So when I'm looking at this, I had aimed for a 50K and 10 chapters at 5K each, and I got fairly close with my goal. I ended up at 43K, 11 chapters, and I completed it on, I think I actually completed it on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's birthday or something. I can't remember. I thought it was really cute. I mean, it wasn't his birthday in England, but it was his birthday here because we're slow, but I thought that was cool. So I like to keep this second part blank so that I can put proper things, like where I'm aiming, where I want it to be, where it ends up. And what's cool about this is this gives you a visual for how to set up your plot points. So for instance, I can write Act 1, this is where I want my inciting incident. Act 2 needs to be where I have the first plot point and the midpoint act, or the first pinch and the midpoint. And, you know, this is how I can see, because I'm a very visual person, where I want the items to end up. Like Act 2B at the bottom, we've got the second plot point, which leads us to Act 3, which is the finale, you know? So then we have that page set up. And you can set it up however you like. This is just because I like it this way and I like being able to see these things. So when you go in here to the back page, you can kind of see where you have this grid, right? So you have this grid from your front, and I like to use that same grid. And so I'm going to only do it on one side this time. And then I already know where the midpoint I want is, because it's the same midpoint that I'm using off of the first page, like, because you can see through the paper a little bit. And so instead of making another one of those grids, you are going to make another one of those grids. Every time you enter a new story, you make a new grid. But this is the back of the grid. So here's your plot, here's your plotting, here's your, you know, important incidents you want in these areas, right? But then we're going to write pelagic solution, because that's the story I'm still working with. So we're going to write pelagic solution at the top, because that is the story we're working with, right? So we want to do settings in one side of this like little half grid. And then we want to do characters. Okay? That's what we're doing there. So what that does, because here I have a hard time remembering what I've described, where I am, and what I'm doing. So what I do is I list. So for the aquatic equation, it was Sherlock inspired, you know, story, right? So I do my settings. I was at 221B. I had a Black Rose pub, which is a pub in Philly. I had a basis for that. I used Moriarty's pub as an inspiration in Philly, so I knew I described that. I had a crime scene in a field, and then I had the Ben Franklin Bridge. So I had these specific places that I knew I had to describe, because that's where they were. And it helped me remember specifically where in the city they were. And then characters are, of course, you know, I have Watson, I have Holmes, I have Lestrade, I have Moriarty. And I've also got, you know, I mentioned Victor Trevor. I mentioned a Molly type character. I mentioned the case. The case was about a missing doctor. I mentioned the missing doctor. So I have these character lists so that I know who in my cast I have. I know I can keep straight who I've got in play, because that's another thing that I also struggle with. Now on this page here, which is a blank page, because we only did a half grid, we didn't do a whole grid. And this is more something I do kind of in the early parts of plotting, is I go through and I list the 7 points. I will clean that up at some point. I'm sure you don't care. So, oh no. So I know I've got 1, I need to have my hook. I skip a few random places and I go 2. I need to have the first plot point. 3, I'm going to need to have a pinch point. We're at the midpoint at that point, so then I need to know where I want the middle to be and what kind of action we're taking. And then we've got pinch number 2. We've got plot point number 2. And then we've got plot 7 is our resolution. Okay, so for instance, for this abomination of a Sherlock fic that I did, I have the hook was the initial case, the plot point, Sherlock becomes infected by a thing. Pinch 1, I remember something to do with John, I didn't finish that. We found Moriarty towards the middle. Pinch 2 is Sherlock doing some other stuff with the case. And then plot 2, we've got Moriarty still there. And then the resolution was to finish off with a Reichenbach fall. So we needed to make it so he fell. I have so many things that I've been plotting. It's not even freaking funny. So I didn't finish that. I'm just trying to see like. Oh, I already have one for this. I already have one for the Pelagic Solution. I just forgot to finish it. So actually, I may still end up using this book for a little while, but I'm not sorry to have a backup because I like to know what I'm doing. But you'll see, for instance, I started a Moulin Rouge inspired story that I've actually started posting. I actually have it plotted out more than that. I just haven't finished it. And I have the hooks. And then I do sometimes like to leave this as a little bit of a place for notes too. So like setting, cast, all of my hooks, and then a little bit of spot just in case I want to jot anything down. Trying to see if there's anything else that's interesting. Not really. One of the things I do like to do, and you can do it with these let's see. I mean, you could just do it with Post-it notes. There we go. So I went to the Dollar Tree and I ended up with one of these little 100-sheet notebooks. And you could do this with Post-its. I'm sure you could, but I like things to be a little more sturdy. So while I was plotting it, I realized I was having good ideas for a character. But I didn't want to like straight up put it in here because I didn't know where it was going to go. They were just random ideas at the time. So I got this little blank, colorful notebook and I just tape a little flap so that I can still lift it up. I can still see all of this information, but I have these here too, like the thoughts on the novel, which is like what I was doing with this too. It was actually more character development for that character. So yeah. So that's how I set that up. Like that's how I did it. And I just thought it was useful. I thought it would be a useful thing to know. We've been here for an hour, so I might go soon. But that is how I like to plot. I find it helps me a lot when coming up with ideas. Now, there are a lot of things that I will just spit out. So I have a lot of short stories that just bleh, and I spit them out. But this helps keep me just a little more organized because the thing that I dislike the most about reading, for instance, fan fiction, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm a little dry. The things that I like about fan fiction specifically, but also things that drive me crazy is, yeah, they update like every week. So it's kind of like a TV show, but in, writing format. But we are also all adults with full-time jobs and kids and life outside of writing, and it's voluntary and it's a hobby. So I never want to start posting something that I know I'm not going to finish. That was the thing with COVID last year that drove me a little bit crazy, and I went a little bit off the deep end with it because I would just get really, really into making sure it was something I could finish because I didn't want to, not to be morbid, but I didn't want to die of like COVID and have an unfinished story. So for instance, like I think the Aquatic Equation was completed before I started posting it. And, all of the short stories were completed and edited before I was posting them. Because I just didn't want to leave anyone hanging. Now I've been a little lax about that. I had a story that I was posting and I did not finish writing it until this past month. So there were 2 months that it did not update. But, yeah, so that's how that is. It's just, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I really like how that is formatted. And let me see if, I don't think I have my calendar. I can show you my calendar. Because that's the other part of this insanity. Oh, I do have my calendar. I got this last year. It's actually kind of appropriate to show you that I got this sticker last year. I think it was during, the Black Lives Matters post. No, it was the same month. It was like, the same month that I was buying all the stickers for some of the Black Lives Matters charities. But this was one of the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden trail. I got this when I went to Gettysburg with one of my friends. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that at that little store. That was the politics store. But I have like a whole stack of stickers. If you would like to support my favorite Black-owned business, oh my God, that's the worst thing to say, not Black-owned business. But yeah, like support Black artists and queer artists. My favorite store to buy stickers from for my journals is South Street Art Mart. Like, they are amazing. I did not get that sticker there, and I didn't get that sticker. That was a gift, but South Street Art Mart is where I love to get all my stickers. I'm so mad I didn't get their Tattooed Mom sticker pack last year because I wanted it. So yes. LGBTQ, BIPOC, like, buy their stickers. Like, anyway, sorry, I'm very tired. But yes, that's one of my favorite businesses, and it's where I got a lot of the stickers. And then I wish I had my jean jacket sticker, because that was one of my favorite purchases this year, and I haven't found the perfect notebook for it. But anyway, so Dreams United, I just thought it was cute. But this is my calendar. It's going to be for work and for, oh my gosh, going to be for work and for theater stuff. And this is just my overall calendar and how I lay out calendars. I still have that same index, but instead of 2 columns, I just have 1. But I also have it go on for like 3 pages and it's not numbered. So here's my grid pattern. And then I have a weekly template. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, weekly template, and then notes. So then you can come here and I did a great job of actually using it. But like, so I have week of 5/31 to 6/6, a little bit of a motto. I thought weaponized comfort was a cute motto. And then I wanted to know I was posting a video on Monday and Wednesday and Friday, and I wanted to make an Instagram post on Saturday. So, and then, I wanted a place where I can like write in, so I started this during a power outage and I just didn't finish it. But that's how I'm hoping to set up my calendar so that I know, because I'm on a rotating schedule at work. So I work certain days and then it changes every week and then it rotates back. Like, so you start week 1 again, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then week 1 starts again. So just so that I can keeping myself, I want to make sure I'm putting like when I'm working as well. So that's how I lay out my calendars. I just didn't finish that one. So, well, on that note, I am exhausted and I don't have to be at work till late tomorrow, but I do want to have a couple minutes to myself tonight. So that is how I set up my writing book. I have a really good sticker from my friend Megan. I have some My Chemical Romance stickers too. That's who gave me the Tomb and Back sticker. I'm pretty sure my friend Megan gave me that one. And then, like I said, the provider at work gave me that one. And that one I just bought because it reminds me of my mom. The mermaid I got from the Dollar Tree. So yeah, that's just how I set up my writing journal. I just thought you might like it. And I'll be back again with my usual video on YouTube on Friday. And I think next week we are going to start the $30 Laundry Club. And I cannot wait to debut the first episode. It's been a long time coming, and I hope you enjoy it. So, thank you guys.